Okay, this is notes 3-2. Okay, we're going to build on what we did on the previous lesson where we are graphing a system of inequalities instead of just one inequality and shading. All right, on our first one, what I recommend on these is that you use a pencil and you shade lightly on the first one, and then when you graph the second one, and you shade it's going to shade over the top of it, and you're going to see the area that becomes darker. That's what we call the double shaded area. I'm going to use different colors because I have that capability on here, and you could also do the same. You could use map colors for each one. So for the first equation, you could use maybe a red, and the second one, a blue or a green or something like that, and then you would see where the different colors overlap, and that will be your answer area. So our first one, I'm going to start off with a blue. Okay, the first equation, we have it. Both of these are already in y-slope-intercept form, so it has a -4 for my y-intercept, so I'm going to start at -4. From there, I'm going to use 2, which is my slope, and as a fraction, that's 2/1, so that's rise 2, run 1. And I can continue to do that, rise 2, run 1. And I could do that all the way to the end of the graph. And on this particular one, I look at it, and I could go the opposite way as well. Down 2/1. Oh, sorry. Down 2/1, be there. Down 2/1, down 2/1. Now, on this particular one, it is also equal to, so it's less than or equal to, so that means that this is a solid line. Now, what we had learned from the last lesson is that solid lines, the answer could be on that line, okay, or in the direction that it's shaded. Okay. All right, this one is less than, so that means shade below. So I'm going to shade below. So the answer as of right now could be anywhere on the blue line or below it. Now I'm going to use red for my next one. And it's already in y-equals form as well. It has a y-intercept of -5. So I start at -5. From there, I'm going to rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. And I continue that process all the way to the edge. Now, I'm not going to go the other direction on this one because the blue is not shaded the other direction. If I went the other direction, that would be down 1 over 2, puts me out here. Well, clearly there's no blue shading over there, so there will be no double shading in that direction. So it does no good for me to shade over or to continue to plot points in that direction. This one is a dotted line because it is not equal to, so I'll throw a couple little dashes in there just to kind of help close it off somewhat. It's greater than, so that means shade up. So no reason for me to continue shading above the blue line. I can stop at the blue line because obviously if I shaded above the blue line, like in this case right here, then it's not a double shaded area. The only double shaded area is below that blue line, okay, on the blue line and below, and then above the red dotted line. The answer cannot be on the red dotted line because it is non-inclusive. So the answer would have to be anything above that red line, but on or below the blue line. Okay, number 2, I'll start off in blue again. X is less than 6. That means that it's going to be a vertical line going through 6, and it will be a broken line or a dotted line because it's not equal to. So I'll go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it would be a series of dotted lines or points going up that line in both directions. You can use dashes if you prefer dashes. Okay, on this guy it says less than, so that means I shade to the left. All right, for my next color, I'm going to use yellow. And on this particular one, I've got to put it in y-equals form, so I have to move that x across. Okay, when I move the x across, that leaves me y is greater than -1x plus 4. Now it's in y equals form. 4 is my y-intercept, so I'll go up to 4 on my y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, put a point. Okay, from there, I use my slope, which is -1, as a fraction. That's -1/1. So that would be down 1 over to the right 1. And I would continue that process all the way till it meets the blue line. I don't want to go on the other side of the blue line because it's not shaded that direction. I go the other direction as well, so up 1 over to the left 1. And this particular one is not equal to, so it's a dotted line. So I've already got my dots there, and I can add a few more little dots in there to help seal it off. This one says greater than, so that means shade above. So I'm shading up. And I can see my blue and yellow shaded area. So on my last one, I'm going to go with red. So this is going to have a triple shaded area is going to be my solution. So on it, I'm going to zoom in so it makes it a little bit easier for you to be able to see. So my y-intercept is 4. So I start at 4. And my slope is -1/2. That means go down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. Down 1. Oops, I messed up on that last one. Sorry. Down 1 over 2. Okay, I don't want to go past the blue line. Does me no good to do that. There's nothing shaded over there. This one is also a dotted line. So I'll throw a couple extra little dashes in. And it is going to be less than, so that means I shade down. So I shade down, and I can see that there is a triple shaded area. This little piece of pizza pie right here is my triple shaded area. So the answer can be anywhere in that area there. Okay. Moving on to number 3. Number 3, I'll start with blue again. I'm going to move you got to put it in y equals, so I'm going to move the x across, the 1x across. That's -3y is greater than -1x minus 9. Now I have to solve for y, so I've got to divide by -3. Bells and whistles, beep, 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 they go off. I divided by a negative, so that means I must flip my inequality. It is now less than. A negative over negative is a positive 1/3 x. A -9 minus divided by -3 would be a positive 3. So my y-intercept is 3. My slope is 1/3. So I rise 1 and I run 3. Rise 1, run 3. Rise 1, run 3. Same thing the other direction. Go down 1 to the left 3. Because our line goes both directions. Down 1 to the right 3. Left 3. Down 1 to the left 3. And this guy is less than, so it's not equal to. So I'm going to add some dashes in here just so I can kind of, it's not a solid line. It's a dashed line, so it cannot include the points on that line. And it is less than, so I shade down. Okay. Next one, I'll go with yellow again. Move that 4x across. So I've got -y, which is -1y, is greater than -4x plus 4. Then I have to solve for y, so I've got to divide by -1. Bells and whistles go off. I divided by a negative. So I've got to flip the inequality to a less than. Negative over negative is a positive 4x. Positive over negative will be a negative. 4 divided by 1 is 4. So my y-intercept is -4. So I go down 1, 2, 3, 4 for my beginning point. From there, I use my slope, which is 4. 4 as a fraction is 4 over 1. So rise 4, run 1. Rise 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, run 1. And no reason to go any higher than that because I will be out of the shaded blue area. I can go down though, 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the left 1 to complete it out. This is another dotted line, so I'm going to add some dashes in there. Okay. And it says less than, so I am shading down. And I can see that I have a double shaded blue and yellow area. So finally, the last one, I'm going to use red. We're going to have a triple shaded area. Take my X across, and I have 2y is greater than negative 1x minus 2. Solving for y, divide by 2. Y is greater than negative 1 half x. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. So my y-intercept is negative 1. So put a point at negative 1. It's my beginning point. And negative 1 half, I go down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. And down 1 over 2. It is a dotted line because it's not equal to. So I'll throw a couple extra little dashes in. And it says greater than, so I'm shading up. And I see my triple shaded area. So the answer can be anywhere in that triple shaded area. It cannot be on any of the lines because none of the lines are solid. So it would have to be in the triple shaded area. Okay, for our assignment, we are doing a 3-2, numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9 and 11. Now 1 through 6 is just matching. You're going to match the graphs that are already graphed with the equations that are given. So you just put the letter out there for whichever equations match the given graph. And then the other two you actually have to graph and shade. Okay, this concludes notes for 3-2.